Sitting in the bleachers in the rain. We've shed a million tears and drank as many old style beers out at the game. Let's go Cubbies, Ranto
with Michael,
Ranto
and Crawley,
Ranto and the lovable losers. Ranto
with Michael,
Ranto
and Crawley,
Ranto and the lovable losers. Ranto.
Here comes Michael Cottontail, hopping down the bunny trail. Hippity hoppity, he is on his way.
Oh, Zombie Jesus Day.
Yeah, happy Zombie Jesus Day, everybody. I'm Danny Rocket, one of your faithful hosts of the Sun Ranto Show. We got Crawley in the hizzy. What's up from the clubhouse?
Yep, hanging out. Good weekend.
Yeah, you texted us a picture. You were sitting in a hot tub, looking at a lake, listening to the Cubs game, beer in hand. That's a hell of a Sunday.
Oh, was that a hot tub? I thought that was like ice and snow up there. Was it icy and snowy?
Oh, no ice, no snow. Although that's going to change in about a few hours.
I totally misunderstood that picture. I thought that was ice and snow, but maybe it was just like the foam and bubbles from the
bubbles.
Okay.
Yeah. And I spent the day with my mom and her friends at her house, just a mile north, and we watched much of the game today. We had a nice time, just playing a few like games at Easter time, and some dice games and stuff. But it was funny because my mom wasn't aware that Chris Bryant was not on the Cubs anymore and that he was now a Rocky. And when he came to bat, we were sitting there watching, and she goes, good. Now I'll be happy when he strikes out.
There you go.
That's hilarious. So she doesn't listen to the show? I'm so surprised.
No. I don't want to hear about it. You know what I mean? Like, well, you said this last night. I'm like, I don't want to hear. I don't want to be sitting here live thinking mom's watching. You know what I mean? Like, it's better if I don't know.
I have had that thought a few times, and not necessarily that my mom's listening, but that somebody my mom knows is listening, and they're like, "Do you know what he just said last night?"
Well, I want to thank you to our 109 Patreon supporters.
Hey, we got one.
Yeah, we got one and one extra from the 108 we had before who support the show. Thank you so much for being a part of it. You guys rock. And we talk out of our ass for you. We really do. And also happy 3 Finger Brown today. Happy 3 Finger Brown Day, I should say. In honor of 3 Finger Brown, I got 3 fingers right now of it's champagne.
I did something different for 3 Finger Brown Day, but we're not going to talk about that. Our parents may be listening.
Yeah, that's a position. Like, and then she gave me the 3 Finger Brown. Couldn't walk for a week. So, well, let's get right into this Rocky series. Not that we got right into it, but we split it.
Split the road trip.
I know we said that before. You know, I said it. I don't remember who else. I know some more people said, but the Rockies are a good team at home, and they may be better than people think in general. And so happy with the split, especially when you had the TBD come up, and you knew that's almost an automatic loss.
Yeah.
And
what I like about I don't like the split. Like, I always want to win the series. Like, I think that the game on Friday night was winnable. If you get your hits in a different order, in game 2 of this series, you win the game. Or if Marcus Stroman doesn't have the one bad inning. But what I liked about the overall
literally one bad inning.
Bad inning
really sucked.
Well, that's baseball. But what I loved about the series was all the hits. Like, hit parade, you're taking your walks, you're not striking out. Like, this is a different kind of Cubs team overall. And I just want to point that out because it's early in the season and we haven't seen anything like this for a long time. And
I'm not
successful ultimately because you come into it. We're a game above 500. Great. I feel happy about that. Okay, we're above 500. We're coming back home. You're not going to hate that overall look, on a day like today. But 49 hits in this.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know what they did on Friday, but they had 13 hits each of the last 3 games.
Yeah.
Today too.
Yeah, today too. All right, so 3 times and then 10 hits the first game. So
yeah, double-digit hits in a game, especially when we're used to it always being double-digit strikeouts per game.
Yeah, well, exactly. We're always laughing like we won and we struck out 15 times. But we hit 9 home runs, so I guess we're okay. But like, this is a whole totally different situation. It's a lot of fun to watch. And
one thing to keep in mind is that all the West Coast parks are really big. They play really big. Whether you're talking about San Diego, the Dodgers, Colorado, all those parks. San Francisco's another one. They play really big, and that kind of is better for the Cubs style of baseball as far as Wrigley being a smaller park. You know what I mean? So there's so much more space for these guys to dink and dunk the ball in.
That's a great point. And, it's kind of what's even better is like, it'll be a team like the Cubs who can sneak into the playoffs and then play a West Coast first seed team with your 500 record and then like knock the Dodgers out in a 3-game series because you dink and dunk the ball and like, basically death by 1,000 cuts them to death. Yeah. I mean, I'm just looking for pathways here. Our playoff odds went up, so I'm looking this way. You want to just start game by game?
Yeah, let's go game by game. Let's take a look real quick.
Win game 1, 5-2. Frank the Tank comes in hot after he's told that he's a bust by Dan Schwerzersky from Fangraphs, I believe. Frank the Tank makes a list of busts. Now we can talk about whether he even belongs on a list of busts because to me, you have to have something expected of you in the first place to be a bust.
That's true. And I think that kind of fits the narrative I think that Crawley was fighting against all last year is everybody getting so excited about what he was doing that somehow some dude can write a bust article when the reality is we all know he's not that good. Like if anything he does is over and above what we were expecting, like just holding his own, being a replacement player would be fine for Frank Schwindel, and he'll stick around on this team for a few years if he can just be a replacement player. That's not a bust. That's just not what he did in the first 40 games that he played for the Cubs.
Yeah.
It's I would say that especially with Frank more than with Wisdom, and Wisdom also got on fire this series, but with these guys again, the holes are not as big in Schwindel's swing as they are in Wisdom, where everyone kind of knows where to get Patrick. So I would say that Schwindel can do a really nice job. That's really what you're looking at here, and people making these grand pronouncements after 5 games are, that's always very amusing in baseball.
Yeah, exactly. I'll put up the box score here from game 1. You win it. Oh, no, wait, this is the wrong game. All right. This is the one that Justin Steele started. And he goes 4.1 innings, gives up 5 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. I mean, he got into trouble. It's almost in the exact same part of the game where he got into trouble last time. So he's like this 2 times through the order kind of guy, right?
Well, I mean, that could just be a symptom of this, shortened start to the season. Coomer was talking about it on the radio today that this week would have actually, like if they had their entire spring training, this would have been the last week of games, right? So the pitchers didn't have their 10 days to build up to spring training that they normally get when pitchers and catchers report. And then it was a shortened spring training. So these guys are just running out of steam.
80 pitches.
at 80 pitches. You know, that 60 to 70 pitches, they're starting to fall apart. And I think that's what we saw from Steele. We saw it from Smiley today, from Stroman. Like,
yeah,
that's just what's going to happen.
Right. And before this even started, it's why MLB put extra players on the roster for the first month of the season, is because they knew that the pitchers weren't built up yet. And so that you were going to have a couple extra guys in there. And we talked about these piggyback type games that were, going to happen due to the lockout. And so as you're looking at this, I mean, I'm not, again, too early to kind of tell on some of these guys, but 4 or 5 innings is probably what you're going to go through. You're looking at a pitch count of 50 to 70-ish, depending on how easy those pitches are.
80
and,
per Steele.
and it's why you saw Kershaw get pulled the other day that we talked about. It's these guys don't have it built up yet. So I wouldn't worry too much about Steele. He's done way more than I thought he would do, and I'm happy so far.
I'm not worried at all. I'm saying, is it for real? Is Steele for real? Is this situation that we're seeing right now with Justin Steele, where, I mean, can he go more than the 80 pitch? I mean, he got in a little bit of trouble in this game in the fifth inning.
Right.
That's where he gives up the 2 runs, or I don't even think he gave him up, but he put him on base. But then the Rockies, I mean, they can hit. They're pretty much the same team as the Cubs. But what I'm wondering is, like, is Steele the kind of guy that you're gonna? Is he? Here's my question: is he Mr. Piggyback for the rest of the year? Is that what they're thinking of him as, or is he a guy that they're going to be putting out there and be like, maybe he gets a 7, eventually after he gets stretched out enough?
I mean, that's the hope all the time, is that if you got a starter, you want to get 6 or 7 innings.
They never let anybody go 7 anymore, though. Like, it's insane.
That's what I'm saying. Like, are they going to let it happen? Like, or is that's
you let it happen depending. He hasn't built up that cachet yet. He's not, Max Scherzer or something like that. So he's going to get the quick hook. And again, a lot of these guys are, but the goal is hopefully, if he's still pitching well and strong and guys are not getting good looks at him and they're not making good contact, you're going to try to keep him in. But this was always the thing about Steele. And it's obviously you wanted to split the righties up, which is why you put Steele in where you did slotted second, but he's a young player. So, I mean, you don't know what to expect out of him. And if you can get four to 6 good innings, you'll be very happy with that every time around. Right. And that's why you got Smiley and Miley, the Smiley twins. That's a veteran, 2 veteran players.
No, we haven't even seen Miley yet.
Yeah. But I'm actually optimistic about this from Steele because of what we're talking about how they haven't really built up yet. And he's making it 4.1 and looking good, and then he drops off the table a little bit. But this makes me think, as he gets stronger through the season, he might be able to go into that 5th and 6th inning, because I don't know. I'm just saying 80, would you say 80 pitches in 4.1, but he probably faced, like, I don't know, 20 batters or so. So that's not terrible at that point. Young pitcher, I think he could get stronger.
Young pitcher, the subject. Now the real coup of this game, though, was the fact that David Ross knew that Keegan Thompson was facing a suspension of at least, 3 games is what it was. It was knocked down to 2 games, but as the appeal was going through, David Ross was like, okay, I'm going to use you for 3.1 innings in this game. And I love this Cubs memes put out. Thompson has earned his ... vacation. It's when your reliever is about to serve a 3-game suspension, so you throw him 3.1 innings and 45 pitches of lights out ball and send him on his way. Like, that was, I mean, that really was kind of brilliant. And that's how you come away with that win. Because, I mean, there's no guarantee that Thompson's going to do great because he's basically the same guy as Steele. Like, we're just like, cool. He's good. Yeah. This is going great. It's not particularly unexpected or expected,
Yeah. This is another thing that I'm optimistic about in how Ross is having to run this bullpen right now and run some of these guys out for 2 and 3 innings at a time. That's not because he wants to necessarily. He has to, just to get through all these innings. And maybe these guys can do this all the time. I mean, wouldn't it be awesome if Steele could have gone 5 and then Thompson goes 3 and then you give it up to Robertson for the 9th, or it's over? You know what I mean? Like, that could be really fun baseball.
How about Steele goes 7, Thompson or Givens comes in for the 8th, and then a real closer that's not a million years old comes in for the 9th, although David Robertson's been doing a good job. But here's my question. Ethan Roberts with a tough kind of series here. 0.1 innings in this first game. Only got the 1 out, gave up 2 walks and a hit. And then he pitched, what was it, last night? Let me look up the box scores here. Yeah, and he gave up the run and
3 walks
and a hit
is what it looks like. Yeah, it's the walks that are really sort of frightening. Now, I'm being like fucking Pollyanna here. Maybe it's because he's in Colorado and he's afraid to get anywhere near the middle of the plate. You know what I mean? Like, he's just a young guy and he's just afraid to throw it anywhere the guys can hit it. And without the, veteran maybe ability to control that, he's not getting the calls. So I don't know. Again, I just realized that I'm going really Pollyanna on all of this. Like, Steele can get stronger and, and Thompson can do 3 innings every game and all this shit.
But be the 4th starter. It's the weirdest thing.
It's so weird when they're young like this.
How do we have a 5th starter and not a 4th starter? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's so weird. It's like, usually you're like, well, we don't have a 5th starter, but no, we don't have a 4th starter. I've never seen that before. Let's move on to game. One more thing about game 1 is like Suzuki. I don't know if he got benched, but he got caught freaking out there in this game. I mean,
yeah.
And he's been doing great. Like, so you're going to give it to him. It's not like he's sucking. He's like doing awesome. But then he's like got caught napping, like running between first and second, got doubled off first. Like, was that just like jet lag or like what happened there?
I have no idea. This team absolutely blew on the base pass. The two lands were plentiful in this 4-game stretch. These guys were running all over the fucking place. I mean, I tweeted it today. Has any team made you like cheer and before you even sat down scream like this team has? Horner today hits a fucking double. How did he end up in between second and third?
Well, because he cut off the ball.
But take the fucking double. Pay attention to what's going on. Like,
I think in the situation, what Danny was saying though, and what other people said too, is that he was trying to get the throw to come to him so that I think it was Hermosillo would make it in safely.
And he did.
Maybe, but I don't know.
But you are right in the fact that they have run into so many outs on the base passes. Extremely frustrating. It's okay to be smartly aggressive, but to constantly be getting caught up in between bases is getting frustrating.
Yeah. And it could happen at critical moments that really piss you off, especially when you have those thoughts of like when you do get a rally going and you're like, well, this inning actually started with a guy that walked and got picked off first base or something. Yeah. And you're like, it could actually be 4-0 right now with no outs, but instead, it's a different situation. So like, yeah, it's frustrating. And plus I saw Kaplan was pissed off about this when the Ortega diving into first base situation that again, and it's simply not faster. It's just not. I looked it up. I did today.
They've done numerous studies on it. I think they did it on what is that? The show? It used to be Myth or something. I forget. Mythbusters. All these things. Literally, everybody knows you just run through, and it's why sprinters do that when you watch the Olympics. Is they run and then they kind of like go all the way through and cut in. They don't jump
also because that would hurt like a bitch if you dove on
the track.
Anytime you dive, it hurts. Like you're also taking injury risk.
How many people have we seen get hurt just diving into bases? It happens all the time. It's fingers. David Bodie still isn't with this team because he fucking blew out his shoulder doing it last year. You know,
it's
like
actually helping the team, him not being
probably
people at bats. But yeah, it's something to watch too, because we know that for this team to score runs, they need to move runners around, which means running, which means stealing bases, which means trying some hit and runs and things like that to get over on the other team. If that's not working out, it's gonna
and again, like you said, it can be very frustrating because the Cubs are doing an awesome job getting on base, but they're also hitting into a lot of double plays. The more you hit it, make contact, the more chances you have to hit it on the ground, the more chances, especially with the defensive alignments, to hit into double plays. And that's where you can start to get really frustrated.
I remember in 2016, we'd be like 20 left on base. Like what? But we still won 14-2 because it's just everybody's always on base. If you're hitting into 5 double plays, at least people are on base. Game 2, we lose 6-5 because Crawley jinxed it.
Danny jinxed it.
No.
Wait, okay,
and
he
projected it on me.
Yeah, no, Crawley jinxed it. Here's how Crawley jinxed it. He tweets out after 3 innings. He tweets out like a really happy GIF.
I like it a lot.
Stroman with a nice, efficient 39 pitches through 3 innings. # Cubs up 3-0. And then what happened?
The guy's rolling. I mean, he's throwing. I mean, he's averaging 13 pitches. 13 pitches an inning.
You had to say something and jinx it. Stroman ends up giving up 5 runs on 6 hits, 4 strikeouts. Gives up that big freaking home run to who was that hit that Trejo,
like the number 9 hitter.
Trejo, Danny Trejo. That wasn't
Danny Trejo. Isn't he an actor?
Yeah, he's an actor. He always plays bad guys. Marcus Stroman looked so uncomfortable in that 4th inning. Like for the dude that walks out calm as a cucumber and showing everybody, and it's the Stro show and blah blah blah. Like all of a sudden he's like marching around the mound, like does not fidgety.
Yeah, it felt like something weird happened, right?
Something was off, and the other thing I want to say, and I'm not using this as an excuse in general, I have not been impressed with the umpiring so far more than usual. I don't know if those guys are just a little bit behind or what, but I just feel like the zones haven't been consistent. And that's the thing is that like you know, and I always put up ump scorecards every day, the day after the game. I just put the Cubs one up, but ump scorecards has all the ump scorecards, and it's one of those things where you're taking a look at it and you don't worry much about accuracy as you do about consistency. Would you like an accurate strike zone? Sure, everybody, of course, you'd like an accurate strike zone. But when you have one that's inconsistent all the time, that's where it gets to be a pain in the ass, where you can't tell what's a strike versus not a strike from
consistency
pitch to pitch.
Consistency is more important than accuracy, honestly, because it could be if the ball's out of the zone, but it's a strike all day, at some point somebody is going to do it. But here's a thought: like in Denver, mushrooms are legal. Is it possible that Stro was just having a night on Friday and then all of a sudden it kicked back in right before he went out in the 4th?
He started sweating and now it ran back up again. Even though we lost, I did have fun listening to that game or watching that game and then listening to it because our man Artie Boucher was in the stands at Coors Fields calling the game on Colorcast. And so we could hear all the in-between inning stuff. We could hear all the crowd sounds, and it sounded great with him just on an iPhone 6 on speakerphone. That's what he had. I was like, what are you on? I'm like, what kind of internet? He's like, actually, I'm on my own phone internet. I'm like, I don't know if this would work by Wrigley, but it's working in Colorado. So Crawley and I are going to try it tomorrow night. I think we're going to try to color cast out and do our own call of the game. Like for better or for worse, we're just here to experiment. So if you don't have Colorcast, download it and follow the Son Ranto Show, and you can hear us instead of the Hall of Fame broadcaster Pat Hughes. And former All-Star Ron Coomer, of course. But no, I listened to this game at the end of it with Todd Emmons and David Elliott came on, and we had a great time just even being in the game because all these games, the Cubs were in, and they and I'll get to the next game, but they fought back in the third game, even though they were down big. But in this game, like you're only a couple big hits away. Like Cubs have bases loaded. Wilson Contreras, like you talk about the umpiring, gets kind of hosed on that high strike call.
Yep.
But
it was the second pitch, especially.
Yeah, exactly. Because the third one was a strike. The one that he actually struck out on was
the one that he struck. Yeah, and I think what people are frustrated with is man, you got to make the adjustment to the zone. That if he's going to call the second pitch a strike, he's not going to give you that third pitch.
Which is what's driving me nuts about Wilson right now. He's the new Clerch. He is Mr. Solo Shot. He's just padding his own numbers, seeing what he can do. But when the chips are down, the moment is too big for him. No, I mean, that's what I'm seeing, right? So far this year, small sample size, meatball Cub fan opinion is that Wilson Contreras, he's running too hot for those moments. He cannot calm his nerves. He's taken, the ball. I mean, the ball's letter high. And even if it is a ball, hit it. You can. You're Wilson fucking Contreras. Say Suzuki's doing that.
It's frustrating because especially I think it was today. Say at Suzuki, there was a bad call on a walk and he didn't swing, and it was a strikeout. He struck out, but it wasn't a strike. It was a bullshit call. It's hard because as fans, we get mad when they swing out of the zone. What are you swinging at? And then when all of a sudden the ump show screws them over, then we're like, why didn't you swing? It's look, it's a tough.
Well, I mean,
what do you?
There's a difference between the ball in the dirt and the ball on the line that you're not swinging at.
That. Yeah, I'm not saying that at a ball like an inch outside the zone. I'm talking about like a Javier Baez, the things in the other batter's box, and he just selling out for it.
I was just looking again at when you're looking at that call with Wilson, you should make the adjustment. The trouble was the first one was borderline, the second one wasn't even close. And then the third one he got rung up on, and that again that one was a close one too. So I think sometimes there's a level of frustration that comes into it because you're sitting there as a player and especially as a catcher. You know what I mean? You're talking, you're working the ump the whole game. You know what the zone is based on what you're doing. I think with catchers it's a little bit harder than other players because Wilson's like, okay, this is the zone. I got it. And then all of a sudden he gets calls and it's like, it's the classic catcher. Well, shit, dude, if you're going to call me out on that, you better give my pitcher those same fucking strikes. And I think that with Wilson, it was just kind of like sometimes, especially obviously in baseball more than other sports, you can't let the last pitch affect the next one. And I think he did that. I think he was still thinking about that second pitch and he was pissed off and his head wasn't right into it with that third pitch.
Completely agree, which is why I'm like, come on, Wilson. Like, this is why people don't like you. This is why the Cubs don't want you anymore. No, this is why.
They're in the middle. I mean, this dude probably has a ton of shit going on in his head because he's in the middle of they're doing arbitration. He's still in the middle of that, isn't he? That hasn't been settled.
What does he have to do? Nothing. He just got
but it's like your team is your fucking ownership won't give you the extra $1 million to be a top 3 catcher in this fucking league, and he's pressing. I think there might be something there where he's like, I have to be the best, Danny. I think you might have something going like what you're saying within his head, but the fucking Ricketts are not making this any easier on him. The same way last season, all those players were fucking struggling until they left the Cubs because they were just waiting for the fucking shoe to drop. They were just waiting to get sent away.
Feeling disrespected on prove it deals.
Yeah.
But I did blame Crawley for the jinx in this game, but it truly was my fault because I had tweeted out earlier in the day that Marcus Stroman had a 1.64 ERA and had never allowed a home run.
And we talked about it on the show too, like the preview.
Yeah. Well, and so that's reversion to the mean crap. And it sometimes you'll have a situation like VR who just owned what's his name? Freeland.
You were on top of that. You said last week that he was gonna fucking have a weekend, and he fucking did. Like he was a superstar.
But he could also go 0 for 12 and still be batting 400. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying. Like the dude has such ridiculous, but that's not what happened. He just like VR's on fire. Like he's the only Cub that came to play. Like
I'm really interested.
Wait a sec. Wait a sec. We mean he's
no, all the Cubs came to play. Wisdom showed up.
Swindell showed up. Suzuki hasn't stopped showing up.
Yeah. Wisdom showed up with 5 doubles over 4 days. That's
Nick Madrigal.
Impressive. Yeah, Nicky 2 outs or 2 strikes.
Man, the Cubs actually, like I said, it literally what it came. You're talking about every game here. You know, the first game they won 5-2. They were winning the second game. I mean, it looked like they had it, and then they only lost 6-5. The third game, which we'll get to, even then they still had a chance to win it.
Well, actually, let's just go to it now. We don't need to stick on that second game anymore.
We lost it 6-9.
Nice.
Not nice.
Oh, wait. That feels weird.
Yeah, but we climbed back into that, and really this one is like, why did Mark Leiter Jr. join this team? Like, what was the point of that? Like, he came out, he was terrible.
Did they think his dad was Al? Did they get the wrong Leiter?
But Mark Leiter was his dad was actually a good pitcher too. I looked it all up. His dad was a good pitcher. His uncle was an even better pitcher. They own a pitching coaching situation in New Jersey. And he goes out there like, how are they going to sell any pitching lessons after this outing?
So the funny thing about Coors is it's a tough place to pitch, especially if you're not an overpowering guy and you
sucks.
Right. And if you rely a lot on breaking and curve and sliders, it's just a really damn tough place to play. And you saw Ethan Roberts, who looked so good at Wrigley, all this, had one of the pitching ninja was like going crazy about his slider and stuff. It just didn't have the same movement out there. And Leiter started out good, and then that carriage turned back into a pumpkin, and it is what it is. But he's a depth piece. This is what he's here for, is a TBD, and you plug him in and you hope to God that he kind of just goes on a nice run for the day.
Well, and he's no longer here.
Yeah. Well, if the Cubs had this is what's frustrating to me. The Cubs have no 4th starter. So you got to bring this dude up, right? So if you have even a decent 4th starter, you win this game because you climb back into this thing in Colorado. If you have even a guy that can only give up 4 runs instead of 7, you win the game. So these are all ended up in the L column because they're not trying. And then I'm like, it's that situation like in the major league when every win against what you're supposed to do, because this team wasn't supposed to win, but you put it together like it is and they can.
Well, Wade Miley is injured, obviously. You have Alec Mills is injured. You have Albert Alzolay is injured. You got a lot of guys before you had to get to Leiter.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where we are.
Some of these were known knowns. What I'm saying is other teams that are going for it, they're like, oh, crap, we need somebody else. Let's go get somebody else. And we're not doing that. We're just sitting there in the middle of the league payroll-wise. And not that there's anybody to get, by the way, either, because that ship has sailed at this point.
Well, and we're sitting in the middle of the standings too. I mean, it's a 500 team. I mean, we were 500 yesterday. We're 1 game over now. Yeah. We were 1 game over after Pittsburgh. We're 1 game over after. That's how it's been. 1 game over after Brewers, 1 game over after Pittsburgh, 1 game over after Rockies. We may end the season 1 game over, and that will be a fucking success. Well, that will be
just for the record, though. I mean, the Cubs have a really, really tough April into early May schedule. So if you're going here, you have the Brewers, playoff team, Pirates for only 2, not a playoff team, Rockies were not a playoff team, but then you got
Pirates
the Rays.
have the same record as the Cubs right now, though.
Right. And you got Tampa Bay, who is a playoff team. You got the Braves. You got another set with the Brewers. You got the White Sox. So you're facing a lot of good teams. And Colorado at home is never easy. Even when they're shitty, they're still somehow good at home. They're just awful on the road.
Yeah.
So
okay, well, let's get out of the 6-9 win loss.
One thing I do want to put, and it's the frustrating thing, is in that inning. One of the big rallies happened when KB hit a ground ball that should have been a double play, and Madrigal was kind of slow on that.
Yeah. No,
and that frustrated me because one thing we've always known as the Cubs is Chris Bryant always hustles down the line, and he's a great base runner with long strides.
Yeah, and that would have been the third out and gotten Stroman out of the inning at that point, and it didn't happen. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like an upgrade at every position makes some of this stuff go different. Because if I zoom out even a little bit, you're looking at a 500 road trip, which, the old adage, go 500 on the road, win 2 or 3 at home, and now you're a playoff team, and then you roll the dice. But in reality, though, beat the fucking Pirates. What does the 2016 Cubs do? They go, 6-1 on this road trip, or how many games we played? 6 games. They go 5-1 on this road trip, if not 6-0. Great teams do better than what we saw. Great team.
Right.
And
we know this isn't a great team.
Right. But I'm saying, we know what it would take to do it. And it's not that much. You needed to buy a $10 million starter in the offseason, and you didn't do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they did. And it was Miley. And this dude didn't. Well, this dude didn't pick up a baseball until February 1st. And he's been, I don't know, fucking drinking all winter. Just
picked up a baseball only to throw it through his television set when he got mad at something that he heard on Fox News. And I got to point out too that Jay Hay is off to a great start. And
I posted that in there. I've got his numbers. He's at where's he at? 333, 400, 444. He's got 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, an 844 OPS. This is what if he did this, he's not going to do this. He can actually drop 50 points in his batting average, and it's going to be a super successful year for him in the way that he's played for the Cubs.
One thing that had me confused the entire series was why all of a sudden are we hitting, say, a 6th or 7th?
Yeah, it's insane.
The guy literally does nothing other than he's ridiculously gives you ridiculously good at bats. He walks like crazy. He hits for power. He does everything offensively, and he's down in the bottom of the order.
Yeah, he's your number 3 hitter. Today he hit 5th, but he's been hitting down in the lineup 6th. In game 3, he hit 6th, and that was the one that really had everybody's head scratched. And then he did not play it. Well, he did. He took a walk, and he took over for Hayward. We didn't even talk about all the weird bench decisions in game 2.
My God.
Yeah, in the 5th inning, I'm like, wait, I thought that there was a DH in the NL and that this wasn't going to happen, but that lineup card was like a spring training mess of a lineup card by the end of that game. I didn't even know what David Ross was thinking.
This reminds me of remember when Joe Madden would change the order every single day, and I would always yell at him this is like a little league lineup. Everybody gets a chance to hit 4th. That's what's going on right now. Everybody gets a chance to play. We're going to empty the bench every fucking game that we can, just so everybody gets a chance to get out there and, get a swing of the bat so that their parents can fucking see them before they go home.
But it was a great game today. I really enjoyed watching this one, even though I didn't pay complete attention to it the whole time because I was doing Easter stuff. But just seeing how that Well, I'll put up the box score here. Cubs were, I think, leading in most of these games, if not all of them, right?
Right. They were
they
leading
were
all.
up 1-0 in the one that they got kind of blown out in.
Yeah, but they 13 hits today. They came out swinging. I just like their overall kind of get on base, keep the line moving approach that they put out today, and then good things can happen when you let, I don't know, give yourself the opportunity to let them happen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. And the way that they're hitting, they're slapping them around, they're finding holes. And Coomer was actually talking. I was listening on the radio, so I couldn't see what was going on, but he was talking about a couple of the Rockies guys about how people are going opposite field all of a sudden. It took 4 years of these extreme shifts or whatever, but now teams are really starting to go opposite field. And if that's true, if what he's seeing is real, that's great. And all of this kvetching we've had over the shift can maybe go away. But I saw you just popped up there. The Suzuki should be batting second. I kind of feel like Suzuki's a third guy. I don't know who Pacific 414 wants in the number 3 spot if Suzuki's in 2.
Crawley, where you put him?
I like him in 5. I think 5 is the best for him. He's a guy that doesn't hit for a ton of power. Like, I don't want to say, I don't know, maybe he does hit for a ton of power. It's still early on.
4 homers so far.
I just like to. I mean, I would probably say maybe I'd bet him 3rd. I would say 3rd is where I put him.
See, I was feeling 3rd because he's at least he makes good contact or takes the walk or whatever. So if you get either one of the first 2 guys, hopefully both of them on, then he's going to drive somebody in. That seems to be every chance he gets. He's clutch. He's bringing
the other
in.
Trick is with any of you want whoever your 3 best hitters are, you want them to have the most at bats. How do you do that? You make sure that they get in there in the first 3 spots in the lineup.
So who are we? But here's the thing though. He could be at 2 because I don't know who the fuck the number 2 is. I don't know who the number 1 is. They keep putting the DH up there, and the DH fucking sucks. This team doesn't know what they're doing with it.
Well, we'll get to that. After our commercial break, Michael's going to come back with the DH-o-meter. We're going to take a look at what's been happening with the DH spot in the major leagues since it's come to the National League.
But this team, unlike a lot of the teams in the past where it really did feel like you knew who should be the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5, like you really had a good feel for it. I don't know who should be hitting where really other than Suzuki. I think Suzuki needs to be in the top 3. I'm not completely against the number 2, like Pacific 414 said, but I just feel personally like 3 is better for him. But yeah, it's a weird order right now. Everybody seems to be about the same hitter, but because they don't strike out as much as the last team did, it feels like anybody could play anywhere.
Well, it really depends on who you're going against. I think they're really trying to play the matchups, and we're Craig counseling the entire situation.
And this is the type of team you do that with, right? The old teams that we had with the good core that we all loved, that's the team that really should have had a much stronger, like this is where everybody hits. But you're right. This team, because we don't know and because we're trying to just eke out wins everywhere, it is kind of you make it up every single day to figure out what your best matchup is.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back afterwards to not complain, but just let you know what's happening with the designated hitter in the major leagues, talk about a few things happening in the MLB, and then eventually we're going to preview the next series with the Rays. But here's just a quick commercial. All over Chicagoland, there are thirsty, frazzled, overworked Cubs podcasters who are struggling to survive one more baseball season in the dog-eat-dog world of unpaid content creation. But it doesn't have to be this way. You can make a difference. Become a super ranter at patreon.com/sunranto,
where your support ensures that poor, sad, pathetic, ugly, loser Cubs podcasters can pay for tickets and beer, and in turn line the pockets of the baseball oligarch Ricketts family. Just $1 a month can buy a scorecard. $5 a month can pay for guitar strings to write a Cubs song. And $10 a month almost buys one beer at Wrigley Field. Cubs content creators are the lowest pieces of pond scum garbage that slither over the face of this planet. But super ranters help them get drunk and screw off at baseball games. What do you get out of it? The Son Ranto Show delivered to your podcatcher without stupid advertisements like the one you're seeing and hearing right now. Plus, at other Super Ranter levels, you can get Cubs music, access to private Son Ranto pages, the Ranter calendar, and special thanks and Ranter recognition in our live broadcasts, plus eligibility for monthly prizes. What does Son Ranto get out of it? Your money. For tickets and beer. Go to patreon.com/sunranto. That's patreon.com/sunranto. And become a Super Ranter today. I forgot to mention at the beginning of the podcast to hashtag chance into the chat, and you could win a Frank Chance postcard sent to you by me. Hashtag chance with a capital C. So yeah, let's get into this. Michael, you have a new series that we wanted to highlight here, and I made a little drop for it. So enjoy this.
Fuck it up. Fuck it up. Shit.
That was that was the DH meter, which in reality was just a coconut blowing up for all you podcast listeners at home. There's our DH meter. So how's it going in DHville?
Well, it's going badly. It's exactly how I expected it to be. It doesn't make any difference. I've been saying it for fucking years, but now we're going to really find out how nonsensical it is that everybody thinks this is the greatest thing in the world. First off, I've said there is no DH, right? There's no DH. In 8 games, the Cubs have used 4 different DH hitters, right? And in 2 of those games, they pinch hit for the DH, which, like Danny, you were saying earlier, why the fuck do you have a DH if you're going to pinch hit for the DH? That doesn't make any sense at all, right?
Why is Michael Hermosillo Jason Hayward's defensive replacement? Like, there's lots of questions about
why? Right. Jason Hayward is suddenly so good with the bat that he needs a defensive replacement. It's really weird. Well, anyway, so let's talk about these numbers. And by the way, we were asked by ranters to do this little segment, the DH meter, and I'm more than happy to see what happens this year. But right now, the MLB DH meter for 2022 slash line is a 214, 292, 348. That's a 640 OPS. Okay. So, I mean, that's not good. That's not this amazing thing. In the Major League's 9-hole, which is basically the guy that you get because you can put a DH up there, you could put some other shitty guy in there. The 9-hole hitter is hitting 206, 285, 348, and that's a 633 OPS. So the 9-hole, your worst hitter on the team for the league, is almost matching what the fucking DH is doing, which supposedly is the best hitter in the league, right?
Yeah, but still better than a pitcher.
It's better than a pitcher, but not much.
Even better than Three Finger Brown.
Right, not much. So, so let's look at the 2021 9-hole, right? Because it's really the 9th position that's getting replaced. It's not pitchers. And because the pitchers only hit twice and then they get a pinch hitter in there and they keep switching things out. So We have a 166, 229, 259 for a 485 OPS in the 2021 ninth spot. And those are bad numbers. I totally agree. But the Cubs DH-o-meter for this season is 130, and this is through yesterday. 133, 235, 233 for a 469
nice
OPS. So like the fucking 2021 nine hole is doing better than the Cubs DH right now. And the Cubs ninth hitter right now is hitting 172, 172, 276 for a 448 OPS, which is a better batting average and just doesn't have the power or the, or the walks really. No, it actually has more power, but just not the walks. That's where the issue is. But it's comparable. The Cubs DH is comparable to the Cubs ninth hole. And this is the position that all the Cubs fans were wanting for years. And I have been saying for all of those same years, it's not going to make a big difference. You're not going to see this different.
Say that one time. You're making this up.
Yeah. So, but that is the DH-o-meter for this week. We will check in maybe in a couple of weeks. We're not going to do this every single time.
So moves. Roster moves. There were a few. Mark Leonard Jr. came up, and then there were a flurry of other moves. And Alfonso Rivas was sent to Iowa to make room on the 28-man roster, which is soon to be a thing of the past. Corey Abbott got DFA'd to make room for Locke St. John. And Greg Dykman was DFA'd. I haven't heard anything since then. If they've been picked up on waivers, anybody hear anything?
Not yet, but I think Corey Abbott was really the one that's kind of shocked people there. It looked like he was going to get the start against Colorado, and next thing you know, he's DFA'd. So kind of a tough break. Hopefully they know what they're doing, but I'm sure someone's going to pick up Corey Abbott for sure.
Yeah, well, didn't Locke St. John get DFA'd and then they re-signed him to minor league and now they're bringing him up again? Or am I thinking of somebody else?
Yeah, no, like he went away for a while. You're right. There was something there that it was like a procedural, but this was a procedural contract thing too, because I think Locke St. John had to be added to the 40-man roster by a certain date. Like that's a very common thing for guys that have a cool name like Locke St. John. Other guys don't get that kind of consideration, but
he's like, if I'm not on the 40-man by April 17th, I'm going back to porn.
The person that I was a little bit surprised about, and he wasn't getting the at bats because like he's a first baseman, is Alfonso Rivas. It's like on an old baseball team, that's your lefty dude off the bench who can come on and get on base, take the walk, get the base hit, do what he needs to do to get on the base. And now he's gone. And I know we're going to go down to the 26 now.
Yeah, it's 26. That changed last year. They went from a 25 to a 26, but now you can only bring up like 3 players in September call-ups.
Yeah, so it's not an embarrassment of riches. It's like an embarrassment of non-riches. Like we have too many middling players that some on the periphery. These are all periphery guys anyway, and so they end up peripherizing very easily.
It's like when you're playing cards and you've got like a pair of sevens.
Yeah.
I can beat some people, but I can't really count on it.
Yeah. So the Javier Baez extension that was talked about this week. I mean, the ship has sailed. It's
right.
weird.
No, it's just, here's the thing. And Chris Bryant was really funny actually when they were talking to him because, all the press gathers around him when the first game's about to start. And he's like, all right, guys, at some point in time, we don't have to do like a press conference every time I play the Cubs. And so, You know, some of this stuff.
You played for the Cubs once.
At some point in time, you move on. It's not. We did the whole thing where everyone cheered and everyone cried for him, and then now you saw him play in Colorado. But how many times does that have to happen is a realistic question. And then the same thing with Javi Baez. We know a lot of this stuff. We know he thought it was going to happen. He gets asked about it, and that's fine. It was really close. The pandemic happened. Shit went crazy. And then he didn't have that great of a 2020 to begin with. And that's kind of where we saw ourselves.
The interesting thing to me is the fight between Cubs fans right now about whether we want to be sad about it or allowed to be sad about it. I saw our good friend Cub Zone. He just keeps tweeting out about what the former Cubs are doing. And people are like, let it go, dude. They're not on the team anymore. And other people are like, no, they're great forever. And it's a weird place we are as fans right now where you have respect. Joe Kilgallen's, I think, has the right attitude on it. If you've seen what he's been tweeting about, he's like, no, you can have both thoughts. You respect the past, you cheer for the present, and you dream of the future. Like
it's not hard, but I mean, the easiest way to look at it is those guys are heroes for the rest of their lives. I don't care who it is. It's the same, like I said, same thing as the 85 Bears. They're heroes for the rest of your life. But at the same time, I don't watch Anthony Rizzo's at-bats or Javi Baez or Chris Bryant's if they're not playing the Cubs. If I'm playing them, then there's obviously you're watching them and that. But it's not something that's on my radar 100% of the time. I'm more focused on the minor league Cubs and what's on this team and trying to kind of figure out how these puzzle pieces are going to start fitting together. I wish, I thought it was probably the greatest 5 to 6 year run in modern Cub history, what we witnessed. When you talk about Chris Bryant, Javi Baez, Anthony Rizzo, those are legends. They are legends forever. And what they did will create memories forever. But that ship has sailed. But again, you don't have to obsess over it, but you don't have to be like booing. I'm never going to boo those guys. Never. So
yeah, no. And I'm with you on, I'm not super interested. Well, I can tell you, I don't think I'll ever turn on a game because Chris Bryant's played in it. It's just,
right.
He doesn't excite me in any way. I loved Rizzo for a long time. So I would take a minute if, he was batting or whatever, I'd see him. Javi, on the other hand, yeah. I'll pay attention to some fucking Tigers games because Javi Baez is a goddamn exciting player.
Yeah. Oh, it's 6-5 at a Tigers game in the 8th. I'll turn that game on. Yeah.
And Danny, do you want to hit the drop? And we'll just do this right now since we're already talking about these guys, and we'll just run. Yeah, I'll just run through it real fast.
Sure.
Where are they now? How I miss those companions who walk the canyons of the night by my side. Where are they now?
Okay.
Such old players now in that video. Zach Davies is in there. I'm like, why? What? How did he make it?
Yeah. No. So we are not. I mean, we just said, we don't need to be worried about this all the time, and we're not going to do this like we did last year all the time. But we did just play KB. We saw what he could do. It wasn't overly impressive. I was not blown away by KB in his performance this weekend. And so we looked through the numbers. Javi, unfortunately, is going to Illinois. So that sucks because he got hurt in the walk-off celebration. Somebody hurt him when they're jumping around, which do you guys ever worry about that when you see the walk-off celebrations and shit like that?
No, I wouldn't be able to walk for a week if I was participating in one of those.
And it's I mean, granted it was opening day, so maybe it's a little bit, but sometimes it's like a game in May and these guys get fucking crazy about it. And I really worried. Anyway, so Javi has played the least amount of games. He's played 5 games. He's slashing 316, 350, 526 for an 857 OPS, which is great. He's got a 157 OPS plus. He's got a home run, 4 RBI, a walk. Javi Baez has a walk in 5 games, people, and he's only struck out 4 times. Now, it is only 5 games, but it's 4 times, which I don't know. He could do that in 1 game. We've seen it a number of times. So we go to KB. This is with 8 games because I didn't get today in there. 344, 371, 438 for an 809 OPS. And honestly, this is the lowest of these 3 right now. He's got a 121 OPS plus. So yes, he's quite a bit better than the average player, but that's 0 home runs, 3 RBI, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. So he's not lighting the world on fire here. And then the final is the captain. Anthony Rizzo has played 9 games, 219. He is almost 100 points lower than Javi Baez in batting average, but he's got a 390 on base percentage. This is what we were talking about last show, like with Rizzo just always being a productive at bat, regardless of whether it's an out or whatever. But 390 on base percentage, 530 slugging, 921 OPS, 169
nice
OPS plus, 3 home runs, 8 RBI, 5 walks, 6 strikeouts.
Well, so, and I don't want to dwell on it, but like with any of these guys in the middle of your lineup, instead of one of whoever they're replacing, whether it be Frank Schwindel or Nico Horner or whoever the hell else they would be replacing, that's better than what our guy's doing. So maybe you have one more win. That's all.
The only caveat I put in there with the Rizzo numbers, he's playing at Yankee Stadium now, and that right field porch is bullshit. That shouldn't even be legal. So that's going to help him out. He's, Gordon talked about Hall of Fame numbers from Bryant because he's playing in Colorado. What about Anthony Rizzo finishing out? Maybe goes 5 more years at in Yankee Stadium and just keeps fucking dumping him over that wall.
No, I think that's probably a part of why he's there. So, good news, fellas, because the Ricketts are worth so much money now, and now worth even more because the Cubs are worth $4.43 billion, according to some. I mean, how did that happen? Like, wasn't it just 3 billion a little bit ago? No, it was under $1 billion. It was like 900 million is what the Ricketts bought it for. Then it was 2 billion. Then it's 3 billion. Now it's 4.3. What happened?
You know what? In 1989, you could have bought the entire Earth for $4.43 billion. I don't know how the fuck one team is worth this.
So what you end up happening is a couple different things going on. Number one of the big differences is they have renovated the ballpark around Wrigley and the ballpark around it. They own a lot more property than when it started. You have TV deals that are going up. And as much as the sport is hurting right now, the TV deals, the money keeps coming in. So they're sacrificing long-term health for short-term prosperity. The other thing is the sport books with gambling. It's making these owning a sports team more valuable.
I guess. I mean, it's weird because I do kind of zoom out and see that. Why would you go to a sport book in Wrigleyville, even if it is attached to Wrigley Field? People will be attracted to that, but that's just a glorified bar. Why would you go there over just doing it on your phone?
That's actually not going to be for the degenerate gamblers. That sports book is 100% about the people who just show up to the game, would never make a bet any other time. And they're like, you know what? It's right there. Let's walk in there before we head to our seats.
You have a lot of people that when they come home from college, Nobody wants to go live back in the suburbs. Where do they want to go? They want to go to the city. Where do they want to go in the city? Hey, Lakeview is a great place to go. So now you have a place where you can go and hang out. And even like someone like me who lives in the suburbs, I like going down to the city for all sorts of different events. I love going to Wrigley and other things like that. So if I'm going to sit there and a bunch of my friends say, hey, let's go watch March Madness, let's go do it by Wrigley. I mean, that shit happens all the time down there, Danny. You live around it. You know it.
They're not going to make money. I'm not
going to make hand over fist money.
I'm saying that it's not going to be as much as they are projecting. That makes this team now worth $4 billion. Like instead of 3.23. Like I'm just.
Well, what Crawley is saying though that I agree with is the March Madness thing or whatever things that are happening off season. There's now a reason to go to Wrigley off season, and I mean, you walk around there all the time. You see how empty it is in Wrigleyville. That sports book could bring another, 50% more people just down there to hang out in that bar and make some bets. I mean, Chris Kindle market is going to be a fucking awesome because like all the kids and the moms are going to be over there, buying knickknacks and the dads are just going to be fucking dumping money on NBA and NFL games in that sports book.
Sorry, kids, Santa couldn't come this year. I dumped it all in the Ricketts pockets at the sports book.
Right. Gambling is going to is you can already tell. I mean, you can't literally do anything without hearing gambling ads everywhere nonstop. It's changing the entire face of sporting entertainment. And so it is going to be such a huge deal. And how many of those bets are they going to be taking remote from their phone? So it's going to be a tie-in. So the Cubs are going to probably tie in with somebody, I don't know who, DraftKings, or one of the bajillion other different companies out there, and they're going to get a percentage of that profit.
Yeah.
And you know what's going to be great? Because of that, they are going to have to upgrade the fucking Wi-Fi in the stadium because they have to have those people in the stadium able to make bets each inning, right? So it's going to, I mean, hey, we're all in.
No, it's
Bring the sports book. Give me better Wi-Fi. I'll watch porn while I'm watching the game. And it won't be like stopping all the time.
Well, speaking of porn, I know a lot of you do kind of shopping therapy instead of the more illicit black arts like Michael Cotton and his porn. So
me and my subscription to Lock St. John's website,
his OnlyFans.
His OnlyFans.
So I'm gonna play another commercial, and it's for our StubHub link and our Amazon link. Please keep using that stuff; it really helps the show out. But I'm gonna play the commercial, and we'll be right back with a preview of the series at Wrigley with the Rays. This is a Cubs fan buying tickets from the Cubs. And this is a Cubs fan buying tickets through the StubHub link at sunranto.com/StubHub, knowing that 4% of their ticket purchase will go to the Sun Ranto show instead of into the pockets of rich corporate douchebags. Buy all your tickets through sunranto.com/StubHub. Don't worry, it won't cost you a single penny extra. It don't stink to click our link. This is an Amazon shopper buying things from Amazon. And this is an Amazon shopper buying things through the links at sunranto.com/Amazon, knowing that up to 10% of their purchase will go to the Sun Ranto show instead of that cocksucker Jeff Bezos, who will just use the money to go to space. Plus, if you buy all your Amazon items through sunranto.com/Amazon, you could win a monthly prize. sunranto.com/StubHub and sunranto.com/Amazon. Two great ways to support the Sun Ranto show while sticking it to evil corporations who suck. And it won't cost you a single penny. It don't stink to click our link. We are back.
Hold on, Danny. Fucking Pinkus. So Michael Cotton is Big Dick Vin 69.
Oh, that's bringing it way back. Crawley
Oh my God, that's like 6 years ago.
I was getting trolled with some nasty pictures a bunch of years back. Yeah,
Somebody kept sending dick pics. Yeah.
No, nobody should ever bring that up again.
I'm pretty sure it was Vince Scully, though. That was the weird part.
I just threw up in my mouth. So this is the Cubs' first interleague series. The Rays, who are coming to town now, they've been playing the White Sox. It hasn't been going very well for them, although they did win today, 9-3. But they didn't win before that, and they lost like 4 straight to Oakland and the White Sox before the win tonight. Right now, and this is not including today's stats, but the Cubs are 5th in OPS, which kind of isn't a surprise because the Cubs have been hitting the baseball. They're better than the Rays. The Rays are just above league average with the 705 OPS. And the Rays and Cubs, neither team is really hitting home runs compared to other teams. 7 and 6 respectively. That was as of this morning, but the Cubs have 2 more now. And the Cubs, here's the thing. When I was looking up the offensive stats today, 1 stolen base for the Cubs, but they've been caught 3 times. That was this morning when I looked it up. It's like,
so you're saying there's a chance.
No, I'm saying there's a chance that we should not run. I think you have a better chance at this point letting the guy behind you get a base hit than it is to letting them try to steal a base and then get the base hit and get the run. You know what I mean? Like if you get a single with 2 outs, like it doesn't make sense to let that guy run.
And if I remember, wasn't it Wilson Contreras that got that stolen base? Didn't he do the Javi kind of swim move and get in? Like your 1 stolen base is your catcher.
Yeah, he did have it.
That's
I don't know. I don't know if it was completely a swim move, but something similar.
It was. Yeah, you're right. It was more like treading water, but he made it in.
Made it in.
But their relievers, I mean, this is pretty typical of the Rays. I'll just dig into their bullpen. That's an awkward transition, but 14th in ERA in the major leagues. But they have logged the most innings of any team's pitchers out of the bullpen, which would make some kind of sense because they're the Rays and they don't have guys that can go very long at the beginning of the game. They just have a bunch of relievers.
Even if they did, they wouldn't allow them to. This is the team that pulled their fucking ace just dealing in the middle of the World Series.
Yeah. So the weather is going to suck. Crawley, we're going to the game tomorrow, and you realize it's going to be ass out there. 43 degrees high on Monday, the 18th of April, 36 low.
At least it'll be wet.
38% chance of rain / snow. You ready for this? Tuesday, not much better. Also a night game. 47 degrees. Not going to rain. Probably going to rain on Wednesday. Warms up a little bit. And so the Rays series is going to be just terrible. Just terrible. And then the Pirates come to town on Thursday where it's finally nice. I got some bleacher tickets for this game. 64 degrees, except for the game that's at night. So it's going to be more in the 50s. And then
I'll be there too.
Friday, it's going to rain all day is what is predicted. And that's a day game against the Pirates as well. So it's not looking good. But game 1, we'll be calling on Colorcast. So download the Colorcast app, follow us on Ranto Show. And somehow we're trying new things. We're going to try to call the game on Colorcast. Artie Boucher did a great job. We're going to do it.
Where are you guys sitting tomorrow?
Crawley land.
We'll move around because, we got to do a little bit of like in honor of Harry Carey.
Okay, well, I'm just wondering how well you're going to be able to call these pitches. Like, that looked like a strike to me.
Well, the good thing is the old school scoreboard. The guys they relay it quick, and then we can look it up and kind of work it as it goes and pretend like we knew what it was.
Yeah.
Plus, we're a bit ahead of you guys, so it'll seem like we were totally on it.
I was a full pitch ahead with Artie when he was doing it in Colorado. When I was listening to the game and Artie was a full pitch ahead, and maybe it's the future. Maybe we are the ones that call the famous final last out of the season when the Cubs win the World Series. And we'll be the
final next last
Len
out.
Casper left his job just so he could do it, and we're going to steal his thunder.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck Len Casper. Oh, all right. Well, Shane McClanahan, the 24-year-old lefty, is going up against Kyle Hendricks.
I can't wait to see what he does in the batter's box. Oh, wait, never mind. We don't get that anymore.
Well, he's a 26th rounder, picked by the Mets in 2015. He's pitched 9 innings in 2 games in 2022 and given up 3 runs. He went 85 pitches last time. I think you'll probably see about the same thing next time. Only 3 Cubs have seen him, and nobody's done shit. Kyle Hendricks, dude, he sucked. He sucked on the road. Road Hendricks. We forgot about Road Hendricks.
Yep, and Road Hendricks.
And home Hendricks is way better than Road Hendricks.
And it's going to be cold, so that works in his favor.
Yeah, because his soul is cold, and not a lot of the Rays have seen Kyle, but some of them have. Francisco Mejia has a home run. Then in game 2, we got lefty Josh Fleming.
Ooh, I can't wait to see him bat.
Nope, not gonna happen. Sinker baller. He's got a slider, a diving sinker. He's what they call a worm killer, ground ball pitcher. I love that phrase. I'm gonna get it going. Nobody uses it enough. You know what I mean? It's a good the worm killer.
We used to use the worm burner.
Yeah, worm burner is what I heard. Yeah, worm burner.
Yeah, worm burner.
Well, he's going against lefty Justin Steele, who's been great. We already talked about him. 80 pitches last time. Rays have never seen him. Game 3, we're going to do a color cast / post game show that night to fulfill our contractual obligations with the color cast people, and also keep giving you content.
And that'll be fun. It really will be.
That's old school Son Ranto.
That'll be late night. Yeah.
It's gotta be that late, 9:30, like old man. Drew Rasmussen versus Marcus Stroman in the finale. Rasmussen, he was with Milwaukee. I don't know if you guys remember that. We didn't face him that much, though. Willie is like the only one that even saw him. He's 1 for 1 with a walk. But he was with Milwaukee in 20 and 2021, which is he was one of the arsenal of Craig Counsell's bullshit that he plays. Right. He's one of those guys that came out and did some shit to us because he has a 97 mile per hour fastball. So he's hung around. But he mostly relies on his 87 mile per hour slider. So that's nice. You know what I mean? Like his number 1 pitch is the slider that he goes.
Yeah, the fastball is actually a changeup in that situation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, weirdly enough.
Yeah, when you're pitching backwards that way.
So when he's going against Stroh. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, how you guys feeling about this? Like, we just split. Cubs coming back. Like
this one, it's tough because
hold on.
Today we're going to talk about taking a rectal temperature. Do we have to take it rectally? Yes.
Yeah, now you can tell me how you feel after your temperature is being taken.
I'm hoping that the Cubs take 2 out of 3. That's kind of what I'm feeling. But Tampa's a really good team. They've kind of, obviously they ran into that juggernaut over on the south side, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully the Cubs come back and little home cooking will get them through this, but it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, I'm going straight up sweep, and I want the Cubs to just whip the living shit out, like blowouts every night. and let the Ricketts know that if you're going to play this fucking bullshit draft, don't re-sign, have a bunch of fucking low-paid players on your team, it actually doesn't work. So
well, you better be willing to add. Otherwise, the real fans are going to get frustrated when you're like, no, it's a 2-year rebuild. You're like, no, you've got guys now. Build around. Let's go.
This is just my most hated team right now is the Rays. Only because everybody wants to fucking love on them because they're like, well, they have this low, they don't pay very much, and yet they can still make the playoffs and challenge for the East, and they were in the World Series. Yeah, they fucking lost the World Series, and they didn't make the playoff. Like, they're not, it's not a sustainable practice the way that they do it. And it really drives me nuts that the baseball press wants to make it about this is the new way that you should be trying to do it when you shouldn't. You should be doing it like the fucking Dodgers do, which is just every fucking person in their organization seems to be good. And then they pay everybody that they want to.
They got to back up to the backup. And I'm saying we don't need to be a 500 team. Like $50 million makes this Cubs team a lot different. And I think that most people could agree on that. Like add like 4 or 5, $10 million players and you've got yourself a team. Fortunately, we didn't do that in the offseason, so we don't have a backup to the backup. We don't even have a fourth starter. So, all right, let's move on. Announcements. Bleacher Bum Band booked. Done deal. 5/21, May 21st. Output post game Saturday after the Diamondbacks. Be there or be square.
Good chance that's going to be a win too, because the Diamondbacks suck.
But no, that's why I do it that way. I'm like, we'll only do it so we win, and then everybody's feeling good because it's you don't want to play gig after. And Crawley, I'm guessing that Stroman sold out.
It's getting close. So if you haven't gotten tickets, it's really, I have to check with Stuart McVicker, but we'll double check. But it moved. That opening was huge that we had, and people are really excited. I want to say we got 150 out of 200 sold. If I'm a gambling man. Last I checked.
So a few tickets left, and you get a ton. You get a baseball.
You get all you can eat, all you can drink. You get a swag bag with items from Club 400, the Lost Boys, and doesn't matter, Hart, along with a autographed Mark and Stroman baseball on a Rawlings official baseball. You get a Q&A 30 minutes with me running it. You got Danny Rocket playing some music. You have John Benedict, Cubs organist, playing music. You have David Booth. You have a magician. You get a high-def picture with Marcus Stroman, of you and Marcus Stroman. What else is going on? We got Jim and Justin for After Hours from the Modern Day Romeos. It's going to be Ray Burris from the Cubs, from the 70s Cubs is going to be there. And there's just a lot of people, a lot of things, and we're still going.
Yeah. No, it's going to be an awesome freaking night, and all we can hope for is that it does not rain. That's all. I mean, it's going to be an incredible night, as long as it doesn't rain. And even when it does rain, we end up inside, and having a great time, even a better time sometimes. So even if it rains, it's bad for the people that throw the party, but it's great for the people like us, because we're all stuck in a smaller situation and the party's better. I'm just saying, like, rain or shine, it's going to be an awesome time. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Right. So, all right. TFC it out. Let's finish the show.
Yeah, I have one.
All right. Go ahead.
Okay. Let me get to it here. This one actually comes from the article on the Athletic from Sahadev Sharma, who interviewed my TFC this week, Chris Bryant. Here's the quote. Honestly, I think it would be a disservice to the fans, Bryant said. Everybody that was there, people want to see them move on and see some new guys to root for, like Frank and Wisdom. There's nothing wrong with that. That's one of the great things about Chicago, the fans and their ability to get super passionate behind their players. I'm glad they have some new guys to cheer on. Okay, that's some fucking high level shade right there. Like,
so shady.
Everybody nobody wanted you to move on. We wanted you to stay forever. And then you're like, now they can cheer Frank and Wisdom. Fuck off. You know that.
Basically both of them put together and eat my ass. Oh my God. That's a good one. That was a low. We should have opened the show with that. That would have really made
I love it because and it goes with what Crawley was saying earlier. Like, he doesn't want to talk about this anymore. He's right. For him, it's got to get over. Like, it's so boring, especially for him. And so he's like throwing shade. Like, yeah, now you got, Patrick Wisdom and, and Frank Schwindel to fucking cheer for. So have fun with that, guys.
So mine has to do with, go ahead, Danny.
I was going to go. This one actually comes from you, Crawley. You screenshotted this and sent it to me and I found it quite funny. DeCipio, our friend from this show, said he retweeted aisle 424 and said, if the Marquee Network app were a person, it would be Zach Zaidman. It sucks beyond all comprehension, and we're stuck with it ruining Cubs games for a long time.
That is.
I didn't send that to you.
You didn't?
No. First time I've seen it.
But it's fucking good.
All right, mine goes here with Jackie Robinson Day. Jeremiah Paparacchia, who is the PA announcer, says, this day means a lot to me, even as a PA announcer in the league. And it's a picture of him with a 42 jersey. And so Jeffrey Hovey, 1958, says, so honor him. But does everyone have to wear the same number? It just confuses us senior citizens.
I mean, that is their target fucking demographic anymore. Like, these, all these old dudes are like, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
I saw a bunch of Sox fans saying the same thing about trying to find their game on Friday night. They were the first ones that had to deal with Friday night baseball on the Apple TV situation. And they were making fun of the fact that their demographic, which is a bunch of 58-year-old men, could not find how the fuck to watch that game, Oh, man, that's good. All right. Well,
chance
I guess
for a chance.
Yeah, we got to do the chance for a chance.
Yeah, get your hashtag chance.
Did you get Everett his card, his postcard?
No, I yodeled.
No, that doesn't count. You still got to give Everett his postcard.
You need to write out the yodel on the postcard.
Well, that's what I was gonna do, but I did contact Everett, and he said thank you.
Nice.
So, all right, it's for this time.
Just do the game contest.
I did. That's what it was said.
Here we go. Where it lands, nobody knows.
Here we go. We're drawing it. Oh, look at all those names going up. A little picking music.
Oh, I won it again.
Everett, Paul Yoakum.
Wait. I believe
that's the same person.
Wait, but I saw Everett Yoakum the third. Are you starting? Are you like packing the ballot box here?
Saying is Everett disqualified? Is what you're really at this point. I don't know. We'll have to yodelay and find that. No, I honestly think that me yodeling is enough for the winning. Even anyway,
what are we playing us out with?
I don't know. How do you
coming
that?
Back to Wrigley?
Yeah, because we are. Yeah,
there we go.
All right, I will find it in Spagog.
Spagog.
I'm coming back to Wrigley with a ticket in my hands. No ring upon my finger because I am just a fan. And I spent most of my money on sausages and beer. But I was there when they won it that year. A pressured anticipation had the city tightly wrought with a 5-3 combination as the sailing ball was caught. Half a dozen